Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful and festive neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We hope you are subscribing to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Podchaser, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Himalaya, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Susan Marie. She's telling us about Miss Olive finds her forever home. Before we invite Susan to join us, we want to invite you to join me at New Bedford Public Library in the beautiful city of New Bedford, Massachusetts on New Year's Eve. That's right. Jedley's Totally Interactive Magic Circus will be returning to New Bedford to celebrate the coming of the year 2020. It's all happening New Year's Eve, New Bedford Public Library, and all around the downtown area. I will be at the New Bedford Public Library, but there'll be family-friendly events, free family-friendly events all throughout the downtown New Bedford area. It's all part of what they call City Celebrates. I've been a part of this celebration for at least 15 years. I actually think it's closer to 17 or 18 years. I always have a great time. Always look forward to it. You can check out newbedfordguide.com. That's one of the places where you can find out all of the different family events. Like I said, it's free, it's fun, it's family friendly, and it's happening December 31st, New Year's Eve, in the beautiful city of New Bedford, Massachusetts. Joining us on the line right now from the sunny state of Florida, she is the author of a wonderful new children's book called Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home. Please welcome to the show, Susan Marie. Susan, how are you?
Very good. So happy to be on your show.
I'm really happy that you're on the show. I'm really happy that we've gotten through this part of the show without a problem so far. Had a little issue with the first take, but excited to learn all about Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home, and also excited to learn a little bit about the Doggy Diva show, which is Susan's podcast. When we first start by asking you to tell us all about Miss Olive and her forever home.
Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home is a book about a little dog who is very sad, very lonely in a shelter, and she's waiting for her forever family to come. She gets taken out of the shelter by a foster mom who has other foster pups at her home, and they all get adopted, and Miss Olive doesn't. And so what happens is she finds that Miss Olive has a disability, so she believes it was her disability that caused her not to be adopted, when her foster mom said that it's really because you're so special and your special family will come and you'll find your own forever home. And that's what happens. A special family comes, she gets adopted, and she's very happy. She started very sad and ended up very happy.
That's wonderful. Well, we have an adopted dog that we invited into our home forever, and we mention him often here on the show, Augie the Wonder Dog. He came to us with some issues, and it made it challenging at first, but we're really happy that he dealt with us in our challenges, and we dealt with him in his challenges, and he's been a wonderful part of our family now for the last, I guess, 8 years.
Wow, that's very special, and thank you for adopting. It's so wonderful, and they always know that it happens and that it's good.
Yeah. Tell me what inspired you not only to write Miss Olive, but to create the Doggy Diva show and to dedicate so much of your time to dogs.
Well, I've been, throughout my entire life with my family, with everybody, I've been rescuing animals, and I've had pets my entire life. They've come to me in various shapes, sizes, forms, whatever they may be. And so with Olive came from Italian Greyhound rescue in the Gulf Coast. She's from Florida. She actually was a victim of neglect, and she got rescued by this wonderful organization when she was 8 years old. We adopted her in 2015. She's 12 now, and she is wonderful, and she lives with all of my other rescue animals. We have a home full of rescue animals here. And my show we started in 2003, so we've been on the air a little over 16 years. And I started because I did a lot of volunteer work. I did a lot of work with rescues, and I really wanted it to kind of get out there. And there wasn't, at the time, back then, there really wasn't a platform that had animals, especially rescue animals, on the air. So I started in a local radio station. It ended up being picked up. We are now heard worldwide, and we're on Pet Life Radio now too. And so it's something that I wanted to get the word out about rescue and the importance of rescue. My first dog that I had as my first diva, her name was Sophia the Doggie Diva, which is why the show was named the Doggy Diva Show. And it sort of just came from there. Sophia, unfortunately, she passed away. She went over the Rainbow Bridge. But then another door opened, and Olive came to us. So Olive is my new diva.
Wonderful. Why is it so important that we rescue dogs and look first to shelters to find our pets?
Well, the animals that are in the shelters, it's by no fault of their own and for whatever reason that they're placed there. But they do sometimes have a sense of maybe fear, a sense of not feeling very secure, being a little confused. So when we go in and we adopt them, whether it be through a shelter or it it's like they gain a feeling of security, of love, and they know. They like with Augie, he knows. I mean, they know it changes their lives and it changes our lives also. But yeah, they know. And that's why it's a really wonderful thing.
You mentioned that the pets know when they become part of a forever home. It took Augie a little bit, and he's a beagle plus something unidentified right
Beagles, yeah.
Well, we had never had a beagle before. I've had Saint Bernards and German Shepherds and Border Collies and Irish Setters and English Setters and all sorts of dogs. But a beagle is a different breed altogether. And Augie came to us, and he was terrified. I mean, he wouldn't walk in our backyard by himself. He would follow me around a little bit. And when we try to take him for walks around the neighborhood, he would literally go a house away. And that was it. And he would stop. And he was absolutely silent in the house. And then about a month into his time with us, there was just one night, my daughter and I, we spend the most time with Augie. We're with him in the living room, and we're just kind of chilling and watching TV. And he started howling. And we had never heard him howl before. I had never heard a beagle howl.
The Beagle Bay.
Oh, my goodness. It went on for a half an hour. And I just started laughing. And the more I laughed, of course, the more he howled. I guess he thought I was howling with him. But it was the most incredible thing. It was like that moment, you like he just realized, boom, this is it. This is me. It's time for me to howl for joy.
And that's what they do. They do I have a mixed breed that has a little bit of beagle in her, and she does the Beagle Bay. So as soon as I pull in the driveway, I can hear her because she's welcoming me home. So I know that sound. And yes, they do know. They acclimate themselves. Like with Olive, she wouldn't even look people in the eye. She was a very unique case, very shy, very fearful. And as soon as we started to acclimate her and socialize her to people, I mean, she took to it. It took a while, but she became so loving, and she accepted the love from everybody. So they know, they know that they're no longer going to be alone, and they're loved, and they give that, that unconditional love back.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. One of the things that I do, and I do educational magic shows at schools and different venues around the country. And one of the things I do in my show is I hand out these little beads, and we're going to do some magic with the beads. But while 7 or 8 kids are holding on to them, I ask the kids what they're thankful for. Now, I remember when when I created the show, my son was in middle school at the time, and he told me, he goes, Bob, you're setting yourself up for all sorts of trouble. You never know what a kid's going to say they're thankful for. You know, you might be in a middle school and a kid says something completely inappropriate. I'm really happy to say that hasn't happened at all. I've been doing it now for 10 or 15 years, and thousands and thousands of kids, and 99.9% of the kids are always thankful for something in their life that they love or that loves them. And one of the recurring things that kids mention is that they're thankful for their pets. And it gives us a way to start talking about the fact that having a pet, especially for a kid, it's a great way for a kid to start learning how to love something other than themselves.
Absolutely. It gives them also a sense of responsibility, they feel a sense of love, and, you know, and you're probably like me, Jed, you had pets your whole life, so it was like a sense of responsibility and a sense of caring, and I think that it's so important for children to have that when they're, with pets, and I think that's why pets are so good for children, and what you're doing is wonderful.
Tell us, there may be a family out there that listens to the show that loves to sit down and read to their kids, but they haven't had a pet. My daughter's boyfriend was in this situation just a few months ago. He was striking out on his own. He had a new job in a new state, moving to a new apartment, and he made a very, very kind of rash decision to adopt a dog from a shelter, and it's a beautiful dog. But he immediately discovered that he was kind of in over his head, or at least he thought he was. If the family's out there thinking about adopting a dog, what kind of things do they need to think about that my daughter's boyfriend didn't think about before they go to the shelter?
Well, before they go to the shelter, they really need to stop and think and assess their own home situation and what type of a dog. If they're adopting a dog, adopting a cat, do they have a high energy household? Do they have kind of a sedate, quiet household? Is it for a young family, for seniors? And you sort of assess what your needs are. And are you going to be home during the day with the dog? Will someone be able to take care of the dog if you're not there? Like a pet sitter, it's great to have someone come and walk your dogs like once or twice a day if you're working. And also, you have to be able to crate train the dog, because the dogs, it has kind of a bad stigma, but dogs really do like their crate. It's almost like their little den if they're introduced to it in a positive way. So crate training is wonderful, but it's really important to assess what your needs are, what the needs of your family are, or the needs of your children, or what the energy level of your house is before you make that next step. And if you go to a shelter or if you work with a rescue, they welcome those kind of questions, like, this is what my household's like, this is what my work life's like, this is what my school life's like, whatever it is that you're dealing with, they welcome that, and they can help you find that, the right pet for your household.
Yeah, it really is true. Dogs are very different. I was talking about how different Augie was. The energy level that you're speaking about. You mentioned that, I think you said Miss Oliver is, or was it Sophia, was a Greyhound?
I actually did Greyhound rescue for many years. Sophia was my first Italian Greyhound. We've had 4 more since then. They're very little. Like Olive weighs 8 pounds. Sophia was probably about 10 pounds. So, and I have another one here. She weighs about 13 pounds. So but they also have Italian Greyhounds have a high energy level. So I have had some that are high energy, some that are low energy. Olive is a little less high energy. She has the 3 legs and she has like some health concerns, but she has a spirit like you wouldn't believe. They all have that they all have their own individual gift, that spirit that they give, the whatever, they give to life, and that's what they have. So, but it needs to be assessed because, when we did Greyhound rescue, we had a large fenced-in yard. We had, we lived in an entirely different area than we live right now. We live in a much more conformed, like a neighborhood, and we do have a fenced-in yard, but it's smaller, so, and it's perfect for the size pets that we have. But people need to kind of take that into effect too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I've never heard of an Italian Greyhound. I know the Greyhounds. In fact, we have a woman who does Greyhound rescue here in our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I was really surprised that these animals who are big and they are incredibly fast, have a very low energy level. They, do that one race and then they kind of chill for the rest of the day.
Yeah, they're called the 45-mile-an-hour couch potatoes. And we've had many of them. We fostered them. We brought them into our homes, and and again, they come in. We had one that was a little over 50 pounds, and then we had all the way up to a male that we had who was 95 pounds. So over the course of many years, we did rescue and foster them, but they do somewhat high energy. And again, I had Greyhounds they would lay down and my little dogs would be running all over them, and they just go, okay, let me just lay down on my bed and let me chill. You girls do all the work. I'm just going to, you do what you got to do. I'm just going to chill here. So it depends on the energy level of the dog is.
Yeah. See,
there's some pretty chill dogs out there.
Yeah, and that's really great. And Augie's fairly chill, except if Augie's really weird. We have two doors. We have a little ranch home that we live in. And I guess we brought him in through the side door, which is the door that we usually use. And if anybody comes through the side door, no big deal. Everybody's welcome. But we have a front door that's very rarely used. And if someone comes to the front door, he acts as if the front door is a portal to hell. And he just goes ballistic. It is crazy, his reaction.
It's kind of funny. They each have their own reaction to. I have some that are like that too. That you can go in the sliding glass door, they don't care. You go near the front door, they go out of their minds. You go near the side door. I have another one that paces the side door. That's like her perimeter, and she just goes, "You're not going to go." Of course, she weighs 5 pounds, and she's going, "You're not." She thinks she's a Rottweiler, but she's not. And she paces and she goes, "This is my yard." Yeah, they all have their uniqueness there.
Yeah. And one of the things you mentioned, I think, is really important too. You mentioned that getting a dog from a shelter, and this may seem counterintuitive, but it's been my experience. When you get a dog for a shelter, the people at the shelter take their time, and they want to make sure that they are matching the right dog with the right family, or placing dogs where they're going to be happy and where the family's going to be happy. We were really lucky. When my daughter was 4 years old, she wanted a dog, and so we went to a pet store and we found a border collie found us, and the kids fell in love with him. So we brought the border collie home, not knowing anything about a border collie and not knowing that border collies are like the Energizer rabbit. They never slow
and they're
down.
Very smart.
They
are
incredibly smart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this dog, this dog
smart and high energy.
Yes. Buddy would run around the backyard, a couple of hundred times doing algebra equations in his head. I think it was just and
I could see that. Yeah.
And if we had a cookout, because we have this beautiful backyard, so when we had people over for a cookout, he would always do his best to herd everybody together.
That's their job. Their job is to herd, and they do a very good. They're good at corralling people in. No, you're going to stay here.
Yeah,
we're not ready to go here yet.
It's amazing. It is amazing. Well, I'm guessing that folks who are listening to this are sitting back saying, "I'm just like listening to two people who love dogs." And I think that that's a great commercial for any family that's thinking about opening up their home to allow a dog to call their home a forever home.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit more about your radio show, the Doggy Diva Show.
Well, the Doggy Diva show, we have, I call them the pet experts. I have people, we have a number of guests on that are all over the country, and whether they be, trainers, whether they be food experts, whether they be authors, veterinarians, whatever they be, we bring them on so that the listener can hear what is, what they may not have known something. We hear from people who go, well, I didn't know that, whether it be some sort of a health related thing, whether it be a food related thing, or someone who's an author who nobody knew that they had dogs in their storyline, and the dogs play a major part of their storyline because, they might be a mainstream author. So, or that author has a charity or a foundation for animals that people didn't know about. So I try to bring as much to our listeners to appreciate and learn and hopefully share in the whether it be the joy of having a dog or cat or whatever animal we have. We've even had people who are snake, spider, raccoon, all kinds of specialists we've had on who come on and share their passion, because everybody has a passion for something, and they may not be a dog. It may be, or a cat. It could be something very unique. It could be goats. Or pigs. They're very smart and very loving animals, and to hear from the people that actually live with them and deal with them every day, it's very, very interesting to see how, even though it's a different kind of a four-legged or two-legged or whatever it may be, friend, it's how they're appreciated and how they each have their gift to bring.
Yeah. I have a pig story. I mentioned that I do educational magic shows.
They're very smart. Pigs are very smart. Yeah.
One of the things that I do as I travel around the country is, and there aren't many magic stores that exist, but not too long ago, there was a magic shop in most cities and towns as I travel around, and I would love to go in and just see what they have, see if there's something there that I didn't see before. And there's this one legendary magic shop called Denny and Lee's down in the Baltimore area. And I went there, and I had a chance to spend some time with Denny McLean, who is just the kindest, most gentlest man and magician. He was very generous with his time and sharing some magical wisdom with me. And I was fascinated, but I heard this noise, kind of like little taps on the floor. And I'd look around, and I didn't see anything, and Denny was just kind of spellbinding, so I figured I was hallucinating or something. And then all of a sudden, after a few minutes, I felt this nudge on my calf, and I turned around to see this probably 800-pound Vietnamese potbelly pig who called the magic shop his home. And and it was a really, really intelligent creature, very loving, very, very affectionate.
Oh, yes. Very affectionate, and they're very, very smart. They're very sensitive. I love them. I've had people who have the little mini potbelly pigs, and I've had people, friends of mine who have full-grown pigs, and they're just so sweet. Mm-hmm. They're a very sweet animal.
Yeah.
Now, they all have their own personalities.
Yeah. Now, this brings up something. We talked about, assessing your home and your needs and, what kind of pet that you're right to take care of. I remember when I first heard about potbelly pigs, that there were a lot of families that were taking these cute little pigs into their home, not realizing that they were going to grow into these giant animals. And I hear the same kind of thing happening at Easter time with bunnies and things like that folks really, whether it's a dog or a cat or a pig or a snake, you really have to think about, is this animal that looks cute and cuddly right now, what's it going to look like in a year or two, and am I still going to love having this animal in my home?
That's so important. And you're right. There are people who have, I know someone who is very close to me who had a pig, a little pig, one of those little mini pigs, and they said, oh no, it's not going to get over like 35 pounds. Well, at 350 pounds, they're like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. And they had to change, they were not in a situation where they could house an animal like that. So they found a wonderful sanctuary for it. But it's very important that you involve your vet. I'd get some professional advice before, and this is for people who are looking to get pigs or goats or anything that is a non-traditional pet for the home, because they're wonderful pets. You just have to make sure, for the pet's sake, as well as your own, that it's a comfortable situation for the pet to live in.
Absolutely. Where can folks go to connect with you, to learn more about Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home, and learn more about the Doggy Diva Show?
You could go to the doggydiva.com. That's DOGGYDIVA.com. And you'll also see Sophia, he's talked about magic. Sophia has her magic wand and opens up the website with her magic wand, so you have to click to get in. She's actually Miss Olive's fairy dog mother in the book. She helps her navigate some really sad and uncomfortable times in her life to get her to her forever home. So Sophia she was my first diva, Sophia the Doggy Diva, and she's the one that opens up the little portal to the website, and then you get all those nuggets in there.
That's wonderful. And, Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home. It's a beautiful book, I think, for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, if you're thinking about adopting a pet, this is a great book to sit down and read and talk about with your kids. I also think it's just a great book. We talk a lot here on the show about social emotional intelligence with our guests and with our listeners, and it's really important for parents to help kids kind of identify their feelings and to be able to express their feelings and talk about their feelings. And this might be a great vehicle to do that in a way that's not threatening to the kid. It's talking about this cute little dog. And so you're not talking about your feelings, son. You're talking about the dog's feelings. And that could lead into talking about the kid's feelings too.
Well, and that's kind of the book, what I wanted to convey with Miss Olive was that it doesn't really matter what you look like on the outside. It's the love and the kindness that you have in your heart on the inside that counts. And that's what I wanted the premise of the book to be about. And thankfully it's been received that way. And I thank you so much for the kind things you said about Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home, because it's kind of a special story about a special dog, and she is mine, and it's kind of based on our story, but it just goes to show that it doesn't really matter what you look like. And it's the same when you're adopting a dog or a cat. It shouldn't matter what they look like, what their age is. It should matter, again, if it fits into your lifestyle, but again, the love that you get from that animal, that unconditional love.
Absolutely. Well, we want to encourage everybody to investigate Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home by our guest, Susan Marie. Susan, thanks so much for being part of our show today.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be L.A. Kefalos. We'll be talking about a blob on a bus. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We want to thank the folks who made today's show so very wonderful. Want to thank Susan Marie. Please check out Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home. Want to thank my amazing producer, Fatima Khan. Be sure to check out her blog at readingwithyourkids.com. I want to thank my dog who found his forever home here, Augie the doggy. He always is watching my back here in the studio. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. And of course, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.